I know I'm asking for a lot of you guys, and I apologize for this, but I just want to know if it's okay. We can just move on from the Scorsese thing. And you're probably thinking, well, why don't you? You're making a video on it. Yeah, but I'm still. It was like we're 3 weeks after him making his statements, and I'm still seeing articles and people responding to this. Why? I got a little secret for you, fanboys. You're not gonna believe this, but some people just don't like Marvel films or MCU films. I know it's shocking. I know you're literally shaking right now at the thought of that, but it's just a reality. That's all. Some people just don't like the MCU films, and I gotta, I gotta address some of the false statements about Scorsese. For example, I've seen some things going around like, "Oh, he's a boomer that doesn't appreciate MCU films." The man's 76 years old. Okay, so if a 76-year-old wouldn't appreciate the MCU, what about the 76-year-olds that do appreciate the MCU and do like them? No, that those 76-year-olds, you guys are fine. You guys are fine. You are normal 76-year-olds. These 76-year-olds are not normal. It's kind of like the whole. It's kind of like with black people. Some black people go, you're black, but you're not our kind of black, and that's not a straw man. I've seen that recently, and I was just like, bitch, are you for real? That was wild. That was truly insane. Then it's like, oh, he makes the same kind of mob movies, the same kind of gangster mob movies. The people who say this have only seen Goodfellas. That's it. They've only seen that. Because Hugo is not a mafia movie. Neither is Wolf of Wall Street. Neither is Taxi Driver. Neither The Last Temptation of Christ. I don't remember any mafia characters in that movie. I mean, that would have been great if it were, but no. That's like me saying Steven Spielberg only makes the same dinosaur movies, or Ridley Scott only makes the same sci-fi monster movies. If I were to say that, you should and have every right to believe that the only Spielberg movies I saw was the first two Jurassic Parks, and the only Ridley Scott movie I ever saw was Alien. Because there's no way I could have seen their other films if that's what I came away with from their filmography. I look at their filmography and say, oh, yeah, Raging Bull, mafia movie? No. No. He's known for a mafia film, but that's all he's made. And other people will go, and this is the most common thing among these fanboys who respond to people who criticize the MCU, is they're just jealous because they're not making the same money. It's always jealousy. It can't be that they have their own valid criticisms or their own views of this franchise. It's just that they're jealous. If they're praising it, they're fine. But if they don't like it, it's just jealousy, which is the most retarded argument I can think of. Anyway, it's like, this just shows you that these fanboys value quantity over quality. I like to value quality over quantity. Yeah, his movies have made like $1.9 billion, but that doesn't make the MCU movies better because they've made more money. Or how are we still using the money argument? In 2019, we're still using the box office argument. Look at how many bad movies have been in the box office. Oh, goodness. It's like, what, you're going to tell me Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen? Like I said before, you use the money argument for bad movies, I laugh at you. I get a little annoyed, but I mainly laugh at you because I'm like, oh, that's all you got? Okay, cool. You go over there and believe that. Because I know that's all you're going to use. That's all you can use to convince me that movies like Jurassic World 1 and Jurassic World and Jurassic World 2 or any of the Transformers movies were good. That's all you got. But to use it for good movies like Infinity War and Joker, I'm like, no, don't do that. That's kind of disrespectful to the movie. Use what's in there's so much in this movie that's good that you can pick from anything at all, and to make your argument. You don't have to use the money argument or the Rotten Tomatoes argument. The idiots that still use Rotten Tomatoes as proof of quality, which is like, haven't you learned already? There's another thing I love too, is that people are saying, actually this was a Comicbookcast2 thing who I'll get into in a little bit, but he says, Scorsese only says this to get people to talk about The Irishman. Like, no, Well, he was asked a question and he gave an answer that you didn't like. That's what happened. That's all that happened. He was asked a question. He gave an answer. You didn't like the answer. That's it. There's no ulterior motive behind it. Why would he need that anyway? He needs people to talk about his movie on that. Okay, sure. You keep that bullshit about him. You keep pushing that false narrative. Okay. But we trust you, shill. That's cool. I gotta ask these people a question. Are you defending Marvel, or are you defending yourselves? Because you do take criticism of this franchise as an attack on you, and especially with this, you're making. And I've seen a lot of people ask this question too, and I'm thinking like, oh, thank God I wasn't the only one who thought this. It seems like now more often than not, these people are not defending Marvel; they're defending themselves from criticism, and it's like, no. You don't have to defend yourself. This ain't got nothing to do with you. Martin's, and this brings me right to Comicbookcast2 and his non-stop bullshit with him. I mean, yes, he's less of a fanboy, more of a shill. I mean, we all know this. This is like, if you're gonna sit here and argue this with me, I mean, how much more? I mean, just look at the shit he does to defend Disney, the shit he says to defend Disney, the lying and the misquoting and all this other shit, taking people's words out of context. I mean. You legitimately, you out here literally got me defending Elizabeth Banks bullshit, really? Where he goes, just recently, he's like, oh, she said she blames Spider-Man for Charlie's Angels bombing. No, she did not blame Spider-Man for Charlie's Angels bombing. But yeah, I'm paraphrasing this, but she said something, I think she made a response, they asked her about this was said to the people who said, another Charlie's Angels movie is pointless. Why make another one of these? And she said, you've had like 37 Spider-Man movies. Women are allowed to have one action movie. It's like, which every 17 years. And I'm like, Liz, where have you been living under a rock? We've had Captain Marvel, we've had Wonder Woman, which she said was male-driven franchises. I'm like, okay, that's not entirely inaccurate, but okay. But at the same time, you still had Alita Battle Angel. That's not male-driven. That's a completely female-driven character movie, or not character movie, but its character was female-led. You've had Atomic Blonde. You've had Terminator. Come on, Terminator just came out, and Terminator came out like the week before your movie. You're saying this shit. Again, it's just what irritates me about Armin is that he's got me defending Elizabeth Banks' stupidity, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But this idiot Armin takes it out of context, like she's not blaming anything. Where's the blame? I don't see. She did say that if the movie didn't make money, it's because it was because of men, and it reinforces the stereotype that men don't like women in action films, which is utter bullshit. It was like, yeah, because Ripley and Sarah Connor were popular because women only, right? Go fuck yourself. And that's why his comments make me more angry, because now because your dishonest reporting and your dishonest bullshit is making me defend this moron. It's like Armin's stupidity is making me defend Elizabeth Banks' stupidity. I don't like doing that. It's like two stupids come together. It's like, oh, God damn you. Whew. And then he used the Rotten Tomatoes argument about Jennifer Aniston. Like, look at all her stuff. Like as if that invalidates a point, which to me comes across as the equivalent of like saying, oh, you have this many followers, you don't matter. It's like, no. Just because they don't have as much whatever as you do or as other things doesn't invalidate what was being said. Sorry, that's just a fact of life. You can still use that stupid argument if you like, but I mean, if I have like 5 followers and I say 2 + 2 = 4, is my point invalid because I only have 5 followers? Oh, you have 5 followers. Your mathematics doesn't matter here. Like, okay, there it goes. Another thing from him is like, let people like things. Why can't you let people like things? It's like, well, for starters, these people like Cameron and Jennifer Lopez and all these other people, they never said you can't like these things at all. But in the same respect, in the same regard, why can't you let people not like these things? It's like, and these people, some of these people don't even hate the MCU. In fact, James Cameron got misquoted very grossly. He even said he didn't hate these movies. He actually enjoyed the Marvel films, but he just wished that people would experience more. He did say he wanted superhero fatigue, but so that it would force people to watch other films besides Marvel films. Is he wrong? These people want you to experience other films. Is he wrong for saying that? Let's look at fucking... If the only movies you've seen this year were Endgame, Captain Marvel, and Far From Home, I'll even go further and say Shazam and Joker. I won't even say Dark Phoenix and Hellboy, because no one saw those, really. If those are the only movies you've seen this year, is he wrong? Like, my top 5 movies this year weren't even comic book... Well, one of them was comic book related, the other wasn't. The other 4 isn't. Joker was 1. There's Jojo Rabbit. Ironic, I like that movie, considering I didn't like Ragnarok. Like, I'll get into that later, but just simply put, I just think it's ironic that I think that the Taika Waititi style of humor doesn't work for a Thor movie, but it works for a movie satirizing Adolf Hitler. That's strange, but I'll explain that later. Joker, Jojo Rabbit, Shaft. That's a fucking good movie. The Lighthouse. I think that movie didn't get enough appreciation. Just saying, you might want to look into that. These are movies that I enjoyed, not because I said 5 and there's only named 4. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Excuse me. I forgot I only named 4 and I just realized it. These are movies that I gave this top 5 because I like the films. I'm not afraid to experience other things outside of comic book movies. Now, but if you haven't seen any movies outside of comic book movies, are they wrong about what they're saying? I mean, I'm not saying everyone has done that. I'm just saying, just maybe if this applies to you, how are they wrong? Just throwing it out there. I don't like the fact that this and oh man, Chadwick Boseman with that bullshit, trying to imply that his skin color is the reason Scorsese didn't understand Black Panther. My skin color, not as dark as his, I'm black as well. Black Panther was a mediocre bullshit movie. Sorry to break this to you, but it doesn't. And what about going back to, see, these white people are fine because they understand the movie, but these white people are not fine because they don't understand the movie because of their skin color. Like, oh, well, okay, great, thank you, fuck you too. Oh man. Whew, I should have made this tomorrow. I'm way too tired to be there. I just think that this whole thing with Scorsese is just crazy. Because what it's gonna do is it's gonna stop criticism entirely. That people are losing their shit this badly over Scorsese's comments. It's like all it's gonna do is compel people not to criticize the franchise, valid or invalid. It's just gonna compel. Again, I ask you, fanboys only, not the shills. People like Jeremy Conrad and Comicbookcast2's, y'all don't matter. You have no integrity. Your honesty is like a foreign fucking concept to you. So you shills don't matter. I'm asking the fanboys, because at least the fanboys, they have loyalty to the brand, whereas shills have loyalty to themselves and what they can gain from, shilling for these people for Disney. I'm asking fanboys this. Truthfully, what are you defending? Are you defending Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, the movies? Are you defending Disney? Whatever. Are you defending them, or are you defending yourselves?